I want to start with like, I feel like you're always asking everyone very tough questions on your podcast, and make them question all these like things. Is that like something that you do constantly to yourself too? And what was the last time that you asked yourself one of those really big questions?
I love this question. First, thank you for inviting me. I think we both met and had like this beautiful instant connection, which I treasure so much. And when I met you, I'm still on that quest of having older friends that live a life that I can kind of see the future of what I want. And you have been one of those. And I always tell you that I love all the content you do. I love how you treasure your family, how you like hang out with friends. I really also admire you and appreciate you so much. So thank you for what you said about me. And I just fucking hate small talk. Like, I am not good at it. I literally pains me
Yeah.
so much. And I understand that it's like on a day-to-day thing you have to do, but I struggle a lot with it. It gives me a lot of anxiety. And so my sister always laughs because she's like, I'm going with these friends, but I'm not going to invite you because it's a lot of small talk and I've suffered through it. So I've always been like that. Like, I am starting Substack. I went through all my old journals, which I have here, which are so some of them. These are all my journals from like eighth grade. And there's always so many hard questions to me that I ask myself. I think the one that I'm asking myself so much right now, which I'm struggling, and it's like such a big transitional period for me in my life right now, is what do I want to do? I don't know. I don't know. I think I prioritize work a lot over the last few years and just being young and in my 20s and early 30s that there was like this. I wrote on my Substack the other day that I was born with like a volcano inside of my belly. It's true. Like, I wanted so many things and I've accomplished, thank God, a lot of them. And I'm so grateful. But I don't know what I want next. Not that it has to be settled, but like, I am just constantly asking my question, like, what do I really want? What, without this noise, without this success, without all of these, like, what does my soul truly desires? And I don't know. I have no idea. I'm literally currently sitting in that question right now.
I mean, I think it's such an evolving question too, right? Because then you accomplish. I'm sure if I would have asked you 10 years ago, you would have said that you wanted what you have right now. And then you accomplish that and you're like, okay, so what next? Right? Like, how do you keep like going from question to like, changing what it is that you want in life?
And
Um,
it's like this insane self respect I have to have of like, what is next? What do I want? But also, like, how do I just invite life in and not try to go always for more and more? Like, so I'm constantly in that dance of like, how do I, of course, reach for more? Because I love that. But also respect that, like, you can't be at the top of a mountain all the time.
but also sometimes it's nice to ask for less, right? I think like, I mean, it sounds so cheesy to say, but with like age also, I'm learning to experience, like appreciate the times when there's less, when there's more calmness, when you actually get to enjoy what you work so hard for, right? Because I feel like we're constantly so focused on like the next thing that we need to achieve that sometimes it's like, this is what I've always wanted. Why can't I just sit and be happy for a second before I'm like making up another thing that I need to like achieve?
1,000%, I feel you. 1,000%. And also, like, I was talking to my therapist. It's so funny because both of my therapists that I've had, like, constant, both are called Carlos. So I want my first Nobel to be called Carlos. Eh,
And I love that you
but
have two men. I would have thought that you had like a female therapist all along.
never. I've had some female
Yeah.
therapists, but I'm always just drawn to men when it comes to therapy. Maybe some daddy issues, but like literally always towards men. And I was telling him that I think something that has literally defined the last 15, 16 years of my life, which I've been in the US, have been like this conquest of like an exquisite, over like high achieving life on every aspect. In friends, I want all the friends. In trips, I want all the trips. In work, I want all the work. And I'm arriving to a point in my life, like you said, that I'm just like, I I don't want to be with everything, like with all of it all the time. I want less to exist.
It's just also hard because the way we quantify success, personal and for other people, tends to be this idea of more. So how you feel like, "Oh, am I being lazy? Am I not doing as much as I should be doing? Like, what's gonna be next?" Like, well, you also are in the type of industry where like a lot of it comes from the people, right? So if the impression that they have of you is that you've given up, is that you giving up, taking a weekend off? Like, you know what I mean? Like you constantly you're pushing yourself for more, 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 and like I don't really even think the audience cares, but I think you put all that like all that stress upon you. And it's just a very hard way to live.
And
One
like
of
the
the things,
necessity of constant being there. You know what I mean? What happens if I'm not there available all the time? That's like another question that I have right now.
but it's also new, right? Because, like, listen, I am aging myself here, but like when I grew up, we didn't have cell phones with us all the time. So it, if I was not home, I couldn't pick up the phone unless you like send me a beeper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no way to communicate, and no one died. I was fine. I
No, no,
went to
I
and
want
my parents were fine with me just like going and coming back. You know what I mean?
crazy times, crazy
And
times.
now you forget your phone in the car. You're like, oh my God, what if someone emails me? What if no one can reach out? What's going to happen? People are giving their
Just,
kids like phones at like 80 years old for safety. And I'm like, what?
I
Like,
agree.
it's
Agree. I
insane. It's
agree.
insane.
Sorry,
One
I
of,
interrupted you. Your next question.
yeah,
Go.
I think one of the things that I really wanted to ask you, because it's definitely something that I struggle with quite a bit. And I know it's something that you've been super public about, is like this idea of like body image and resenting your body like until like to a certain extent. How has that journey actually like been for you? Because I think you're genuinely happy with how you look, and I just struggle with it, and I've always have, and I to a certain extent maybe I always will. But I think it's just so brave and so meaningful how you've been able to like achieve that at a young age, and especially in the industry that we are.
It's such a complex subject. I think body, how we relate to our body, says so much of so many things. It tracks down to what they told us about our body, how comfortable we feel about it. It tracks down to like what we feel is pleasure, and like it's like the only thing we are in it all the time, right? It's like for me, when I was at a young age, I grew up in a house where, like, clearly my body was subject of a lot of talk. Okay, I come from a house where, like, everyone is so thin and, like, perfect body, legs, even dad, mom, sister, aunts, everyone around me. Like, I have this picture I'm literally looking at because it's my screensaver of, like, me around, like, 10 years old, and I was just a chubby girl. I've always been a chubby girl and probably will always be a chubby girl. So for me, the beginning of like my 20s, it was the first time that I was able to be in charge of my clothing and my food. It was the first time that I grew up like under a lot of surveillance in the sense of like what I ate, what clothes I was wearing, and like everything. And so when I turned 19 and I left my parents' house, it was like the first time that I had freedom. And I think I have one thing going on for me, and it is not something that I worked on. I personally have always felt comfortable in my body, and my personal talk about it, my self talk about it has always been gentler. than what the outside world. And I've done a lot of work for it because I am such a sensible person. I feel so much through my body. I I don't know, I came on an early age to understand that like it was crucial for my existence to not be at war with my body. I can't be in love with it all the time. I love that you think that I'm always so happy with what I look. I love what I look. I like it. I'm at this age where I'm like, okay, this is what there is and like I like it. I'm fine with it. But it wasn't always like that. I think there has been so many people around me that have helped me. I've gone a lot of therapy to it, but the main thing and what I would like kind of sum it up all of it is we are pushed into eternal conflict with our body because it benefits the system. I'm super into politics. I'm super into just social issues in general. And the one thing that I keep coming back and gonna keep coming back over and over again is how easy it is to convince women that something is wrong with them, that their bodies should be something different, that they should be at war with themselves all day. And it's just something that I don't want to give up. I don't want to be in love with my body every day. I think that's utopic and it doesn't exist. But I think there are gentler ways for me to treat my only vehicle that I have, and I've been very committed. I think now I'm arising to a new kind of like to a new challenge, which is I've allowed my body so much freedom in sex, in food, in work, in everything. I'm just like a very, like a very, like, have anything you want type of mom with my
Yeah,
body. I'm always like, you feel comfortable, never wear anything that like, like makes you feel uncomfortable. And like, if you're gaining, like, I have jeans for all, like, if I go up, if I go down, like,
same.
I really do try to nourish that. But I think, um, I just didn't wanna live in this war. It's so heavy to me. It cost me so much pain. So for me, it was trying to understand where it came from, so much hatred for my body. And it really didn't come from me. It came from like my parents' idea of what a beautiful body was. It came from the media and like being a photographer for so long that told me like only these bodies. But like as an artist, I try to open my mind that like it's not one thing that is beautiful and like just to actually broaden my horizons of like what a bodies are and like looking it into real life. I think to think that you like just the idea of being in constant war for my body, it was so heavy. It took so many things from me. So in the pandemic, it was like this is gonna be my subject. So I went to a lot of therapy, read a lot of books, and just kind of decided that like I was gonna be what happened if I was just like, okay, my body is okay. I don't need it to be incredible. I don't need it to be the worst body. And so I try to stay in the okay. Like, is my body okay? Can I move okay? Can I walk okay? And try not to look at myself that much. I do. I try to take a lot of nudes and but that's just kind of like who I am as an artist, but like I try to think that I'm so much more than my body and I approach people with that thing in my mind. I approach clothes with that thing in my mind and I really really try to focus that I'm not only a body, that I have a brain, that I have
Wait, what?
feeling.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
As a woman, what?
Yeah, and that the more attention I give to my body, the less attention I give to my art, the less
Yeah.
attention I give to the way I can speak more fluently, the less I give it into my hobbies, into my business. So I don't know. I really tried to just not make it the center of the world. Literally,
How
that's
it's definitely
so.
not. It's just that I think it's also the way that we're raised, especially in Latin countries. How were you able to put certain boundaries with people and with family? Because I feel like, okay, you get to that self acceptance and you're like, okay, I'm okay. But sometimes, you go to your mom's house or your aunt's house and people start making comments because they do. And I understand that they're not necessarily trying to be mean, but they are mean. And like they end up hurting you constantly. How do you put those boundaries up to like,
Mm.
create a safe space for yourself?
Ugh, I'm such a bitch to my parents. I wrote on my Substack about it. I was like, I'm such a fucking bitch. Like, I'm just so bluntly with them. And the moment a therapist told me, like, no one gets to talk about your body if you don't want to, like, you can always say, please don't talk about my body. It was such a powerful weapon. I remember the last comment my mom made to me, I have it in my mind. I'm not gonna say it 'cause I love you, mom, and I know you're gonna watch this. But she said a comment and I just went
Visceral.
on her.
Yeah.
I was like, "If you ever talk about my fucking body again, I will lose it." And I think she understood. And then that boundary, I've had to enforce it several times now I'm in a better place. At that point, I was so mad and so, it's just such a hurtful topic. Like, we
Yes.
don't realize what are comments about. Like, I will cut my tongue before speaking about any friend's body. Like, literally, I get uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about it. I love that everyone hates. I don't like, I am so not interested in anyone's body. Like, honestly, like, of course, I appreciate body. I've been obsessed with
Yeah.
noose my whole life. I love being naked. I love all of this, but like, that, the commentary of it, I'm not. And so, I literally just I've been with people that I love, being very calmly say, "Baby, anytime you say something about my body, you don't realize this, but it triggers me so much that it gives me this, I feel like this, and it just like automatically makes me uncomfortable to be around you." And I think that people that love me a lot understood I've only had to say it once. And now I don't actively participate. If people are saying talking about like this whole new body stuff, I just will remain quiet. Like, I will never ask anyone if they lost weight. I will never ask anyone if they gained weight. I will just not participate. Like,
It's just
I
so
don't.
strange that people think, and like, because I lost like 50 pounds, so I lost a lot of weight, and the comments that I've gotten from people, like friends, oh, like, you look so much better now. I was like, so I look like shit before. Like, like, and I understand that they're not mean spirited, but the fact that they feel like it's okay to even be commenting, oh, are you done losing weight? Oh, your face is gonna fall. Oh, you're na na na. And it's just so strange because I can never imagine a world in which I would literally write you and be like, hey, so I noticed that your arms are looking a certain way. Like, you know what I mean? It's just so wrong. And we need to like break this idea because society told us that it was acceptable to talk about other people's bodies. It's really not okay. It's never okay.
No. And I think it's so important for like you as a mom to like actually teach kids this because they listen to us. Like, I have so many goddaughters and I hear them, I see them, and like, it is not by it's people get used to it, but like the hard stop about the body. We don't talk if someone's leg is off. We don't talk if someone nothing. We don't talk if someone gained weight, if they have a belly, like the understanding that like someone else's body is not your terrain. I
Yeah.
think for me, it's so hurtful that people do it. Still till today, sometimes I get the same. I'm like, people meet me after watching the podcast for so many years. I don't know what they see, and they're like, "Oh my god, you look so much better in person." I'm like, "Do I look like shit on YouTube? Probably." I'm like, "Girl, yeah, because if you looked on a screen all day, you would look like shit as well because I'm tired." And so
Yeah.
it's just like understanding that it's just yeah, it came down in my priorities in life, and so is the talk, and so is the commentary, and I really try to yeah, it's like small talk for me. It's like unbearable,
I feel
honestly.
like I feel like it's ingrained in our culture, and there's a lot of things. I mean, as someone that also moved from Latin America to like the US, you cannot like pick and choose the things that you want to keep and the things that you want to leave behind. Body image being one of them.
Literally.
What is another thing that you would say that for you has been like a key takeaway of like leaving something behind in, Latin culture that you don't want to bring here for yourself?
I don't know if it's like the US gave it to me or just in general, like just the understanding of like a broader life. I think one of the things that has been hard and I struggle as I enter this new phase of my life is just like the standards of time. Like I grew up with two parents that have never put attention into who I'm with. And like if I get married, if I don't get married, like my parents were so involved in getting our education and my dad has these I mean, if I look at it closely, I'm like, "Oh, that's such a problem," but like he just never cared if we dated, if we'd not dated, if there was someone there, if we had kids. Like for him, he could raise a kid with us. You know what I mean? Like that has been something that I've had to work really hard towards of understanding that there's not a set time to do things. And that's why I love meeting you because you were an older mom and I'm always like, "Oh, I'm not like I still have time." But I think one of the things is just this set schedule that is so ingrained in so many cultures of like this is what you have to do, how you have to do it, when you have to do it, the type of guy you have to marry, the type and like I've done none of those things. Like I rarely have followed rules. And so I think one of the things that I love leaving behind is just like there's just no timeline other than my own timeline for me, honestly. Like just
Yep.
not caring how old you are. Like it's such a constrained thing and like it's like, I would have never married in my 20s, even my early
Never,
30s.
never,
Like,
never.
I was just doing drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Like, it was just not something I wanted to do. And so, just the freedom of that and understanding that I get to have my own timeline. But it's something that is heavy still. Now as I'm entering 36 and like, what am I going to do? I think about it like, oh my God, I should have been having kids and a husband. And so, I really tried to like refocus and just like, girl, that's not what you wanted. That's never what you wanted.
Well, you're prioritizing other things. I think
Yeah.
also there's a certain aspect of society telling you that you can have it all and you can, just not at the same time, right? So something's got to give. So if you become the number one podcast in Spanish, like overall, yeah, maybe you're not popping babies on the side. Not at the same
Yeah.
time. That doesn't mean that you cannot pop a bit. I mean, it goes in very unexpected ways. You can meet someone tonight and you can be pregnant, right?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it's really crazy because everyone tells you that, but like for me, it was very much like that. So it does happen that like your life can literally change in a minute when you meet someone. So what's the point of like trying to force something and then maybe end up divorced like 2 years later, you know?
No, yeah. I feel like at this point, I'm like, thank God, like I didn't take any crazy decisions. But for sure, it's something on the back of my head. I'm like, oh my God, am I too old? Am I too young? Am I too much? Am I? And that's like one thing I try constantly to be like, ugh, girl, those are your mom. Like, these are other people's intense timelines on you,
It's also
not
just
yours.
such a woman thing, right? Because like I don't think men are ever wondering, am I too much? Like I don't think a man has ever wondered, am I doing too much?
My
Am I
brother
doing too
got
little?
married at 40 and no one said anything. No one said a shit. Like everyone was at the wedding like, oh, I'm like,
Yeah,
I miss
yeah,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah. There you are.
And so
Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah, that's one thing. Like timelines in general, to just get rid of them, it's been amazing.
Let's talk about your dad because I think the things that I've heard about him are like so iconic, and I love how present like he is in your life and how much guidance he gives you. Has it always been like that?
I don't I mean, I grew up with very young parents. So my mom was 16 when she had my brother, 19 when she had me, and 21 when she had Chelsea. I know.
Wow.
And my dad was 26. So I grew up with very young parents that didn't want to be parents that much. And I could just tell from a young start, I was like, we're all fucking struggling here. And me and my dad have always had an incredible connection. Like, have always, since I was young, I always feel very safe around him. He's like he'll never hit, he'll never scream, he'll always, and I think this is the most beautiful thing about my dad. It's like he truly is a feminist ally. Like, he loves women, works with women, has women at like the highest power positions with him. Um, and just in very, very contrary of how he grew up, which he comes from a very Lebanese, ultra conservative family. And he's just fucking different. He like never cared who I dated. Never. He was always like, don't date, have boyfriends, just go to school somewhere else. And I did. I think he walks his talk. He has poured every dollar, every advice, every minute into having very free, very reverent daughters. Like, both of us have never shut up anywhere. Like, I cannot remember being at a table with my dad and like keeping something, nothing. Been able to talk about my dad about sex, about menopause, about mm, freezing my eggs. Like, he
Yeah.
was the person I took to the gynecologist and be like, you have to sit here because I have
We're
to
doing this
sit here.
together, Dad. We're doing this together.
And you're paying for this, Dad. Help me out. And and so I think when I understood that my father wasn't emotionally available for what I wanted, when I understood he's not the parent you go with like these deep feelings and like this, oh my God, like when I stopped expecting like how a dad should be, I gained a new dad. And so it hasn't always been like this, but not because he wasn't there, I wasn't there. I was like, oh my God, I want the dad that picks me up. He's never going to be that dad. Oh my God, I want the dad to remember each of my friends' names. Never going to be that. But there is not one business, one dream, one school, one day that I'd call him and he hasn't dropped everything and given me anything he has to fulfill my dreams. I think that once I understood he really is a definition of like a very traditional father, which thinks that providing is his number one, not only economically, like a lot of him is just structure. Like, going with my dad just automatically gives me structure. Like, this goes, this doesn't go, and so, I don't know, he loves being I think he said on Christmas that this was his favorite time to have kids because he's older and he can sit at a good restaurant, at a good table, and enjoy his kids, and for me, it's so I can tell. I can tell as a young dad, he struggled a lot because we required a lot of things as children do, and I think for him now what he provides as a father is so enough. I think me and my siblings feel so backed up by him. I went through really hard, like, work decisions over the last few months, and my dad was just like a fucking rock. And I was just like, ugh, I have never felt this before of like just having a mom and a dad because they've been divorced for over 15 years, but they hang out and they are incredible together. And just being like, I have an incredible father now.
I
And,
think it's so powerful what you just said, this idea of like we loving and accepting someone for who they actually are. And you said that about your dad, but I think especially when it comes to parents, we tend to idealize what we wish they were. And then when they cannot uphold to these crazy standards, you
then
know,
it's like they're not they're
we're
anything.
disappointed. And then it's like, okay, we have shitty parents. And then, it's impossible because, and now you get older. And like in my case, I had like kids at 38 and you're like realizing, wait, they're just trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting how you're saying that your father loves being a parent now too, because there's there's different phases of parenting, obviously different ages, and like maybe you like the baby stage and maybe you don't like the toddler stage. That doesn't mean that you don't love your kids. It's just, it's a different reality. Like,
And it
what
goes with his personality as well. I think he thrives in being an adult father. Like,
yeah.
and he thrives. And I have so much respect for him because he has such big jobs all the time and like has always just now he continues to be available. And I think he feels useful to his children right now. And I think that's cool for him as well.
Has he always been in politics since you were young? Or
No,
did that start later?
no, later. This is his fifth or sixth year in politics, but no, he's always been a business guy and like has done a lot. My dad has been from like having a candy store all the way into anything that you can imagine. He's just always seeing like how to move around. But no, the politics.
I wonder where you get it from.
I'm like, I went to his office the other day and I was like, I just want to work less. And he was like, no, you don't get to. I was like, so yeah, I get it from him for sure.
What what do you think you would have done with your life if you didn't have a podcast?
Oh, so many things. I think, oh, I think we're all meant to be so many things. I think, I was a photographer and I loved it. And I was good at it. I think I would have made an incredible career there as well if I could. Um, I would have done something to do with activism, which is kind of what I'm kind of want to do a little bit more. I would have studied international relationships. I would have probably majored something around the Middle East or something like that. I would have been a mom. I would have done so many things. I don't believe and I don't have a calling for just one thing. I just
Yeah.
don't identify with that. I don't feel that I am so many things. I love my podcast and I hope it stays for a long run still. But if not, I will become something else. Like I am not married to just being one thing. I understand that intensity of what we've done and what it represents and like how much I love it, but I would have been so happy having a thrift store. I will be so happy having a coffee shop. Like it's just not I really, really tried when I was in photography trying to leave to become full time at Se Regalan Dudas. It was so painful to me to unidentify myself with photography. Like, I was like, everything I do is photography. All my friends is photography. All my group, my community, like, I can't stop being a photographer. I'm going to lose it all. And that personal work that I did through years took me like 2, 3 years to like be able to say, like, okay, I'm not going to be a professional photographer anymore. And you have to be okay with it. And you can take photos your whole life, but like, the top, like, the actual top of photography,
Yeah.
like, you're gonna let that go to go somewhere else, like, to just and that gave me a very wide perspective of, like, I could do so many other things, I could be so many other things. There's just, like I love a good, easy, comfortable life. I love art. I wanna be in between books and stuff, and I wanna learn, and, like, my brain is so important to me to keep it and that can come from so many things, so I would be God fucking knows what, but, like, something else. I hope
Do
I
you
get
think
to teach some other things other than Se Regalan Dudas only.
I
It's
mean,
like,
you
you
already are. I feel like you already are a lot of other things because I still see you as a photographer. And I think you're an incredible, I mean, I don't think you are an incredible writer. And I'm so
thank
happy that people are getting to like finally read more of you on Substack. And, hopefully there's a book coming. And there's, hopefully there's like more things coming on the writing things. I think that what you said about photography and like viewing things from different angles, I think you very much apply that to how you write,
you.
and you make very mundane things seem very meaningful, which I
Thank
love. That's what I really love about your writing.
Thank
What do you think started like Se Regalan Dudas, which is like really just curiosity, or was it desperation to find answers of things that you couldn't find?
I think it's such the beginning of Se Regalan Dudas and just the rise of it is so many things into one. Um it was this very special, very intense connection that me and Letty have. Like, that is at the core of it. That is true. That is what has kept the podcast going for so long. It's kind of like we identify ourselves and being like, "Oh my god, you're my soulmate. You're my soulmate." And that was, I think, the fire of it. Then one thing that has made me and Letty such good friends has been in like pursuit of like an unconventional, very questioned world. Like, that is also something that has unified us as friends. And Se Regalan Dudas is just an example of it. I think so. I like look at it and I'm just like, there was no other way possible. Um, but I think it was the moment. There was like this precious timing of like, I don't know if you read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. There's this point she says that like ideas come by and like touch a lot of people, and then some people are able to materialize it. I think for us, the timing was perfect. It was like the beginning of the rise of podcasting. Javier Piñol, this one guy at Spotify, listened to us, and it was just like he gave us some money to start and like actually build what Se Regalan Dudas is. And it was like the first podcast that like trickled down to Latin America and just like became like the culture of podcasts in Spanish. So I think should not be compared to other podcasts because it was a very particular, there were like 20,000 things that had to align for this project to be as big as it has been. So I think one for sure is the intense connection we have, but also we've worked so fucking hard at it. We worked so hard at it. Like, it is a very big business. Consistency is king on everything. Cash and consistency is king. And just the idea of being consistent and like there's times where the podcast hasn't gone so good and now we're up again, and then just like sticking to our true mission, which is keep opening uncomfortable conversations in Spanish. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of things. I also think it's a project. Of course, it's my face and it's Letty's face, but like she's always had her own agenda regardless of what we fucking think. I'm like, "Oh, well, now let's make it smaller." And it's like, "No, it's not." And I'm like, "Oh my God, let's do this tour." No, we're not going to do. It's just like it has its own mind. And I just kind of work for her.
Do you guys ever fight?
What?
Like, do you guys ever fight?
Of course. Yes, we do fight. We do fight. We just came out of a long period, not fighting, of just uncomfortableness. Yeah, we do
And then
fight.
how do you manage that? Because I feel like a lot of people are usually scared to work with a friend because you might lose the friendship, right? At the end. And you guys have been working together for how many years now?
7.
Yeah. So that you get the 7-year itch. So what do you attribute the success of like your friendship, like given the success also of the show? Because especially you see it in bands and stuff, and people start fighting once like fame comes and people start competing with each other. How do you guys like manage that?
One is that connection that we truly have. I remember a couple months ago, I called Letty. I was like, everything you say in business, I'm in the opposite side. Like, I want to do completely different things that you want to do. And she said to me, like, girl, our relationship is so much stronger than like a decision on business. Like, feel free. And I think one is communication. Two, we've been through so much therapy together because it's not only me and
Oh,
Letty, we have a third partner. So we do a lot of therapy
the
together.
three.
The three of us. We do a lot of therapy, the three of us. And then me and Letty alone, we do some therapy together as well. So
That's amazing. Okay.
as soon as
As
we
soon as something
can.
arises, you can deal with it in a healthy way.
Yeah, and, like, there's so many amazing business coaches that can guide like, I wouldn't like, for me, our relationship is the basis of everything. Like, if you invest in a financial advisor, like, why wouldn't you invest in a therapist that can help you set some ground rules or, like, help you realign with vision? Like, for me, it's just the way I kinda do my life. Like, if something doesn't work out, I go to therapy. So, for me, for Letty and for Pau, I think just going back, we just went 6 months straight to therapy those last few months,
I love
6
that.
since January, because we just couldn't align and we couldn't do it and we couldn't figure out what was bothering us, and we literally went to therapy, and that finished therapy being like, "Great, we want
We're
different
happy.
things here. We're happy here. Let's continue here. Let's say goodbye to this." And just like the full understanding of that has been beautiful. But like, I cannot imagine people that are in business together and don't go to therapy. Like, what the fuck?
Because then you will wait for something to blow up, and then by that point it's too late, and you can't go back because you hurt each other so much, right? By the point like people explode. So I think it's
That's
so
right.
wise what you're saying because it sounds like common sense, but it's really not common sense because not
Oh,
everyone does that, you know?
absolutely. And you know what? People don't, I don't know. I think they save therapy for like these big, insane moments of life when in reality, it's just trying to like work a human relationship that involves money. And it's like,
Yeah.
it should be at the beginning of every conflict, in my opinion.
Yeah. How do you stay true to yourself when you are a public persona with someone else? You know what I mean? Because at some point, like like the idea of like se regalan dudas, it becomes this entity of like you two together, but you obviously are two different human beings with different interests and different things. Like, how do you make sure that you still nourish Ashley?
That was hard in the first few years because of my personality. I kind of tend to like choose the chiller side of everything. So I will like kind of like merge and like kind of flow. So I think at the beginning of it, it was more of like kind of like following what was this going. Now, oh, dude, it's so important to cultivate your persona in anything you do. Nothing, everything. I will be so disciplined with my hobbies and the time for my hobbies. I'm such an explorer of LA. Like, I will continue to do that. Like, I will go to the libraries, I will go to the art stuff. Like, I will push myself to continue doing things that are very particular to me. Like, I need a lot of alone time, a lot of alone time, and just like not being afraid to just take it all the time and like continue to nourish. This is something we learned in therapy, like the importance of nourishing other relationships that isn't us and other friends that isn't us. And so I think it's been just mostly just it's hard because of how I grew up. The idea of like a group sounds so incredible all the time and like, oh my God, I have to do it all in a group and it's great. I get to travel with her. But like there's things you sacrifice when you're always in a group. So for me, it has been like now we go on tour. And for the days we have off, I know I need my alone time. I know I want to go see different things than her in Chicago and just be okay to be Letty's so good at being her own person. It tends to be more complex to me. Like I tend to just kind of like want to stick to her and her guide the car. I'm
Yeah.
much more of that type of person, but understanding how much I lose if I do that all the time. So kind of like regaining that back all the time. Like, no, I can do this. If I want to go to the gym, I don't need to wait for anyone. Just go to the fucking gym. Just that kind of stuff.
Do you feel successful now?
Absolutely. Work wise, absolutely.
No.
Abs- in everything.
Do you feel like you're a successful person right now?
Absolutely. I've had the fucking privilege of building an incredible, beautiful life. I feel so happy with my life. Of course, work is a huge success and I love it, but I also have a beautiful personal life. I've cultivated incredible friendships. a lot of hobbies, a beautiful relationship with my siblings. Like, I love my life. I feel so privileged to enjoy it, honestly. I love the place I live with, the people I hang out with. Of course, I always want more and like different things and meeting new people, but oh, I live the dream of my 11-year-old for sure.
She will be proud. You'll
Oh
win the
my
posters of
God.
her room.
Oh, she would be so happy that I have like a this is the first year I've lived alone. I've had so many roommates over the years. And to just live alone.
So nice.
Oh,
It's so
and
nice.
so yes,
So nice.
I think she would be very happy with the choices I've made.
What
I
would
still owe her a couple things, but yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of time.
Yes, for sure.
Plenty of time. You're like in your 30s. There's plenty of time.
For sure.
What would you tell someone that is thinking about starting a podcast or starting like, something in media? What would be your advice or like your main three takeaways?
There is so much consistency required that it has to be as authentic as possible to you so that you can bear it.
Mhm.
Because, like, that's what I said that I love so much about your work. It's like, it's so you and it's like messy, but like beautiful, but fashion, but like there's a baby crying. And like, I love that because it is so true of who you are. And as I know you as a friend, it's so true. Like, you care so much about your kids, but you're still a working mom. And like, you love, I think we share that. We love culture, we love food, we love music. And like, I think the number one thing, it has to be true to yourself so it can be sustainable. That's
Yeah.
like the number one thing. Number two, it's not as glamorous as you think. Like, it looks beautiful that you and I are like in beautiful vintage clothes, dressed and like talking. But at the end of the day, there's like so much planning, doing, executing that is not glamorous. So, like, think about it as a normal job, like an office. It's kind of the same. And number 3, I don't know, I try to be really responsible with the content that I share. I think for me, the understanding of the privilege that I stand on is so important for me. Like, to understand that, like, what I say about the body, what I say about what to do, what to say, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm responsible for that. So I think for me, it's just like being responsible of the content that we put out there. It doesn't all, it's a lie. It doesn't all have to be spiritual and self love. No, but like, I try to make my content an enjoyable piece of content and like a beautiful, leaves you with a question, leaves you with an idea, leaves you with being more creative. I think that would be my 3 things.
Let's change gears up. You mentioned that you froze your eggs. Was
I
that to buy
did.
time or was that a power move on your part?
It was an alignment. It was aligning myself with a decision that is, I wanna have kids one day.
Mhm.
And it felt that there was nothing in my life helping me manifest that in any sense. I don't wanna be spiritual or anything, but, like, I was running around, I was building this, and I kept saying, like, "Yeah, I wanna have kids, I wanna have kids, I wanna have kids." And for me, it was like, "Okay, if you're serious about having kids, I need to do this because, A, I have the enormous privilege to be able to pay for it, but also it just puts into perspective something else."
How was that
So for
experience like for you? Like, was it a warm experience? Was it scary? Because
the first time I did it, it was very I was so pissed off. I was so pissed. I was like, "Why me? Why do I have to do things like this? Why was I not pregnant with this beautiful man that I'm dating?" And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, a baby." Like, that's all, like, I had a dream of becoming a mom, you know what I mean? And, it was so the first time I was so pissed off. I was just mad. The entire time I was mad. Mad here, mad, 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 mad. I was just mad in general. And it took me 3 and it was not very successful. I only got 2 eggs retrieved, and I
how
was
old were
just
you?
like I was 31, 30.
Oh, so you were like a baby. Okay, you were not even like okay.
No. And so they only took 2, and the my doctor, which I love so much, was like, "Do it again. Like, do it again." And I was just like, "I can't." Like, it took me 3 years to be able 4 years to be able to step in a, like, fertility clinic again. I was just like, "Fuck this. Fuck everyone. I don't wanna do this." And, as I started working more on, like, what do I want? What do I feel about maternity? How do I feel about it? And, like, what if this was a beautiful gift and not a, like, a sentence? And just kinda worked it in therapy of, like, I wanna be able to one day have the chance of being a mom older. Clearly, I'm not ready right now. Like, I know it in my bones, I'm not ready. I don't feel ready. And the second time, it was honestly, I don't want to romanticize it, but it was very majestic. It was beautiful. I was so ready. I was very present. I asked for so much help. I did
What
so
helped?
many
What help did you get?
just, like, emotional help, like, told all my friends I was going through this, that it was important for me that everyone was aware of it, that everyone held my hand. So I have all these beautiful screenshots of, like, just heterosexual men that I have in my life, like, "I don't know what's going on, but, like, go babies, like, what do you need?" And just, like, actually, like, I felt that this time I just decided not to, like, make it a very lonely, weird shit that I was going through, that it was gonna be something that united me much more with all the people I have around me, with my parents, and so I went, stayed with them. They helped me all the time, my siblings as well, and, it was incredible. It was, incredible. I got, I think, 21 eggs retrieved this time, and just
I'm
my
going to
mind.
your parents' house next time I do my egg retrieval for the next IVF
Honestly,
rounds.
honestly, I was very lucky, and I felt the energy shift completely.
It's interesting. Do you know Marianne Williamson?
No,
I will gift you a book. Um,
please.
I'm obsessed with her. And she says one of the things that she says is that everything that comes out of love grows, and
Oh,
everything that comes out of fear dies. So,
literally,
and it's important to ask ourselves, like, why are we doing things? And everything is one or the other, right? So, the
yeah,
first time around, it seems like you were going into it with fear that you might never be able to have a child, that is a failure. And the second time, you were embracing this idea of love and growing love from you and like growing the love later on. And it became successful. And
literally,
I think it's such a powerful idea because really when you apply it to every decision that you make, it really is one or the other at the
yes.
very core of it. And it's so powerful.
I absolutely agree, and I think just the mind shift was what it was incredible. Literally, just, like, for me, it was my vibe. People, like, my friends are like, "Okay, what did you do this time?" I was just like, "Girl," I was just
Vibing.
I surrendered. I surrendered to the idea that I wasn't a young mom.
Yeah.
I surrendered to the idea that I yeah, that it just didn't happen how I wanted it, and that was it.
I
There
feel
was
like that's the
nothing
first
more.
lesson. That's the first lesson in parenting or like motherhood in general is this idea that you really have no control over anything of when, how, who these kids are going to be. And it's just like in life, especially in the society, we're constantly trying so hard to have control. That is nice. It's just a lot of release, to say the least. Welcome to part two.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was a big question. Will you have kids alone?
No,
No.
no. Not right now, like, not it's not a decision that I could make right now, but, like,
I'm not saying right now. I'm saying, like, do you say yourself at 45 if you haven't found maybe the right person being like, hey, I want to do it alone? Or because for me, like, I'm not judging. I'm just asking.
no, I don't know. I would say my no is a no right now. I wouldn't have kids alone, but God knows, maybe the desire grows and it's something I would want to do. I just see it more like I would want to continue doing other things. And not that uh, parent like fatherhood is guaranteed. Um but yeah, I just never maybe yes, maybe no, I don't think so. I don't think so because I also love my freedom and everything. I think for me, it is more of a life plan type of
Yeah,
situation, if that turns out to be. But for sure, I would wanna have kids. I just don't know if I would do it alone. It just
yeah.
sounds
No,
like
it's a lot.
so hard.
It's a lot.
So
I mean, at least you have parents that seem like they will be there type thing and an
yeah, but they
infrastructure,
won't
friends.
change a diaper. They won't change a diaper.
You get a nanny for that. You get a nanny
Literally,
for that, Ashley. That's what you
perfect.
work hard for, so you can afford a nanny. That's what we all are doing here. This is why we work so
Perfect.
hard, so we don't have to do that part.
Love
Um,
it.
I'm always I mean, I think this is also part of like why I started Silly and Trillion, but I had this curiosity about what people do right when they parent. And when I see you, I see someone that I would love to like have as a daughter, like that I will be very proud of, you know? What do you think your parents did right raising you that you would take into how you raise your kids?
Oh, there was so much freedom to just be whoever the fuck I wanted. Honestly, like just in all ways of like just the hobbies I picked, the school was not what they did correct. But like the hobbies I picked, the things I read, the books I was able to get my hands on, like everything has always been very free. The way they talk about sex, the way they talk about bodies and like nudity and just the very big job my parents did to understand that where I came from wasn't the only place in the world. Like
Yeah.
that was something very big. Like it doesn't matter. These people don't matter. There's so many people in the world. Like go live and just like insane freedom. Honestly, there was so much freedom of like a of course came with a responsible parenting, not gonna lie, some parts of it, but others are just like I was so allowed to just be whoever I wanted. Like, I wrote on my Substack yesterday, like, I was literally a bitch to my parents, and they were just like,
Cool.
"You do you," and, like, I have these questions and, like, "Why did you raise me like this?" And I wanna leave, and my parents have always been a yes. Like, "I wanna do this," "Yes." "I wanna do this," "Yes." So, I think that they did an incredible job, and also, like, just allowing me to be, like, this huge personality and them not shying away from it.
It's so interesting because I feel like when we think about like good kids, especially when they're little, you think about kids that are quiet. You think about kids that are obedient, that are folding into this mold. But like whenever I'm kind of like talking to people that have achieved anything in life, they tended to be the
I was a
people
mess.
that were screaming in the restaurant. You know what I mean?
And
So
I went through every single one of, like, school. I was at the lowest of them all because I was like, "I hate math, I hate this." And just the understanding, like, you hate this, but what do you like? You like art? Okay, go to art school. You wanna read? Then you have to read all like, just, like, like, the exchange of what it was always felt and just, like, you know what? Like, both of my parents cannot care less about what people think. My dad cares more. My mom, I think being pregnant at 16 in the type of society we grew up, it was just like so I love that. Like people were never a problem at my house. Like what people think, what people say, it was just never a problem. And so yeah, I wrote on my Substack actually on Sunday that I was always allowed to leave every place I wanted. I made huge and uncomfortable questions to my parents, and they were always like, I was always able to like talk about abortion in front of like these cousins that are like,
yeah.
and my parents were always like, what do you want me to say? That's what she thinks. And so that constant that I asked my parents it's actually very funny, I have it here. I asked my parents what it was like to raise me. Crazy that you asked that question because literally it was my Substack this year. But I asked my parents where is it? Let me pull it up because it's so worth it. Um, my mom, like, sent me, like, a 5-minute voice note, but my father My father, but they both gave incredible how do I go dashboard? I'm still navigating Substack. I still
Amazing.
random for me. Okay, how do I get okay, here. I asked both of my parents what it was like racing me. And I asked my dad, how would you describe racing me? What would you have done different? And he said, oh, it was so cute. He was like, it was such a privilege. Understanding your feelings, your dreams, your the things that move you and love you above all of the things and open. You only needed um the path to be opened so you could be a very free woman and give you the wings to fly. What would you have done different? Nothing. You're a great woman. And then my mom said what was more challenging was like your freedom, this like pause that you walk life with. You never run into reaction, and that made me reflect twice, because in comparison to your siblings, we are more in the moment, more quickly to make changes. For you, you're much more pause. You're always watching, always watching, always watching, which made me feel watched. And like the true historian you've always been. I love that of you. You just collect how people looked at you. I love your freedom. You never had fear. You've never had fear, only to very few things. So I try to support you to be fearless. So cute.
That's
I
so
know.
cute.
It really is. They're so cute. It was
I
so
think there's such a I mean, I think that it's just such a growing, like exponential growing experience, like having a kid, because I think it confronts you with your biggest fears too. And I really respect that your parents always knew from the very beginning, it seems like who you were, and they were just like, the wind beneath your wings, to push you to like fly. Because it's so easy to get caught up in this idea of who you want them to be, right? And you're fighting your own notions constantly of like how you were raised and what was expected from you and what's good and what's wrong and how can you pass that on to your kids. And it just seems like for you it was just very much like they knew from the very beginning, like we're just here to amplify, and she's just gonna
yeah, I was
watch
at
and grow.
a hospital. I was at a hospital a few like last summer, like going through my boyfriend at a time, mom was dying. And it was like such a challenging time. And I remember just sitting at like the ER, just sitting down there and just being so thankful of like these insane, out of the ordinary parents that I've had. Like, just like how much I mean, it could be tracked down to like lack of like wanting to be parents and like them having so much shit on their plate and everything. But like, just I have been so free my whole life. I've never had to do anything to fulfill the dream of my parents. I've been able to study what I want, read what I want. I I've been so critical of my dad's job and just like I've been a fucking bitch. Honestly, like I have just been irrelevant, like just
It's just so
so
funny because the way I think of you is just like such a beacon of like light and like warmness, and like you're just so kind and loving to everyone. I cannot even imagine you being a bitch like at all. Like
live like
at all.
the bitches I have been is with my parents. Like with my parents, I'm like cold, not cold, but just like I had a lot of questions about my childhood and the way they raised me. Yeah, someone said what a wonderful privilege. Literally, like I
Yeah.
feel to be so free and like I was thinking like I have made these questions that like would people would slap them. Like, my friends were so controlled by their parents. You know how it is. You
Yeah.
know how it is to be raised in these like, families, and my parents just
Especially las familias bien. No, this idea of
yeah,
like you're a member of society, so you're supposed to like behave and be quiet and look pretty and just don't have strong opinions.
never. I think both of my parents love and enjoy so much having very opinionated daughters, and just like, just you know what? I feel like it's not that I was a bitch or mad. I just had so much inside of me, and they just knew it. They, like, gave me so much literature. I think it was unconscious, but, like, just yeah. When I said, "I wanna leave, I wanna build my life," both of them were like,
Peace out. Isn't that funny? Because the more you talk about how your parents were with you, the more apparent it becomes what you do for a living and how you're giving freedom to other people. Because I think you guys were pretty much the first podcast to even like put this uncomfortable questions out in
literally.
the open, especially from, and I say that again because it brings context, niñas bien. Like that's not something that, you know, a normal parent would have been okay with. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
And you
Uh,
know what? There was so much pressure for them to, like, put us like, even our hairs. The way saying my hair is such a representation of it. So many people wanted in my life have always wanted me to be slicked. And like
yeah,
even at school, slick her, like her hair's everywhere. And my parents were just like, girl, what do you want with your hair? I was like, do not touch my hair. And I'm like this in every single school picture. And my parents were fine. So I don't know. I
okay.
think I also yeah, I'm so grateful of the way I was raised now. I hated it when I was growing up. It was so painful to be so free because you need so much guidance. But I think as I reached 36, it was perfect for
But I
the
think
while.
what a privilege also for us that we get to do this with you through
Yeah.
all your channels, right? And like discover things about ourselves with you and ask ourselves the hard questions with
Oh,
you. You
thank
know,
you.
let me do our little quick, like fire questions before we end, because I know
Perfect.
you're a busy person and you're about to go on tour, so you must have millions of
Literally,
thoughts.
they're waiting for me for a tour question. No worries.
Really quick. So, are you actually happy or are you just productive?
What a great question. I'm happy. I'm
Okay.
happy. I'm trying to not produce that much, but I'm happy. I'm very happy right now.
Do you think self acceptance without success would have been possible?
Would have been harder, but yes, it would have been possible.
You're one of the most successful women in Spanish media. Is there anything that success hasn't fixed?
Nothing in my personal life. Success hasn't given me friends or a deep sense of community. I had to build that myself.
When people think of Ashley Frangie, do you want them to think of you as beautiful, powerful, or honest? You cannot pick two, just one.
Honest. So
Okay.
honest. Yeah.
And then last questions to close up. If anyone that is listening here, like it's feeling stuck, whether it's on their body, on their past, or on their career, what's the very first step they could take in order to start rewriting their story?
The first tap, like the
The
first
step, the first thing
as
they should do in order to like rewrite their story.
you know that like what works for me a lot is like this saying they have in Native Americans. Oh, I'm so sad. I don't know specifically from which book it is, but this idea that we're here just to be. Like you're here just to be and experience um humanness and like an incredible experience that it is to be alive and like to understand how many things stars, worlds, people meeting had to join and like coordinate for you to come here. Um, and that is all that should be at the center of everything. Like, I don't mean to sound hippie or anything, but like, you deserve to be here just because of being. And just that's it. You're here to just experience a human experience, which is very rare, which apparently we haven't found a lot of people that get to experience it. So for me is always like I'm just when I feel lost, especially like at this point of my life where do not see a future anywhere, I'm like I could be this and I could be this and I could go here. I'm just like you're here just to be. Like that's it. That's all you need. So that
Love
helps
that.
me always put it into perspective of like that's why I say it doesn't matter what I do at work or what I decide to do as a hobby. It doesn't matter just as long as I'm being. That's all I need to do. That's all
I
I need
love
to
that.
work on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of
Can
course.
you, like, everyone please follow her on Substack? Can you tell us about your tour? When does it start? Where are you going?
Our tour starts starts October 23rd in New York City. We go to New York, Chicago, Miami, Texas. We go to Dallas, Houston, McAllen and San Antonio, Los Angeles and San Diego. And we're on tour for 2 weeks. We start on the 23rd. It's a tour about how weird life got after we became adults and all the things we thought we were going to be, but we didn't get to be.
Okay, amazing. I'm gonna put the link so people can get their tickets. I know I'm gonna
Thank
be
you.
there fanning out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you.
I love you so much. Bye, friend.
Bye.
Mwah. Thank you for a beautiful chat.
Thank you.